Well, so tell me about Benitez. What type of person was he?
Do you know, Rafa was different. He was, I remember speaking to him, negotiating. I weren't, like, because I never really got involved in negotiating. I was always going to sign for Liverpool. I was going to work itself out, So then But I remember he came in and he was like, oh, do you want to play for Liverpool? So why is your agent asking for this? And I said, look, I leave them to them. That's their job, you know. I did forget to ask, well, what are you earning then? Do you do this for free? Or do you just because it's Liverpool? Or are you earning 4 odd million a year? You know? Yeah, it was like, that worried me straight away. Then he had a picture of like me shouting. I'm like, oh God,
what?
You'd have 2,000 of them. And he was like, why is this then? Why? I don't want to see this. And I remember looking at it I'm like, and do you know what, that instant, I remember it now, it was against Sunderland. And I had a bad back for a couple of weeks. And I had the ball, we were winning 1-0 and I had the ball. And the keeper pushed me from behind in my back, and the ball just went near because I was killing time. And I remember thinking, I could turn round at him, and I'm sure it would have been any of it. Like it would have, you would have caught other instances way other games. So, but I remember that moment as well. But I just
did you tell him that as well?
I mentioned it. I'm sure I did. Yeah,
I had a bad back, Raf.
But I remember thinking, no, don't say anything. It was like because you'll find other ones where it was. But I just and then the first few weeks. It was a different way of doing things. It's probably the first real foreign manager I had. It was a lot different. It was like sort of, you played the way he wanted you to play, which I understand. But where you have a bit of freedom as forwards, it was not. Yeah. You run here. No, you run here. But what if that defender goes here? Then surely I can go there. No. You just go there. And that was it.
Fucking hell.
And I just, you need that bit of freedom.
Mark Hughes was right.
Yeah, he was. He was. And I remember I went and seen Mark Hughes about 6 weeks later. And I said, I know what you mean. He goes, look, it's done now.
Yeah.
He goes, go there and give her everything you got. So we were okay, you know what I mean? I went into Blackburn and seen him. But we just, it was a different, but I look back now as well, and I picked up a lot from Rafa. About the pockets, about the disciplined defensive work, about the line, about, high lines, deep lines, playing through the middle thirds. And there was a lot I picked up off Rafa as well, because he was obviously Spanish. But I did feel there wasn't a freedom to, there was never off you go. Let's go and hurt these today. It was always like a tactical element. And sometimes it was, but a lot of it, which is fine. I'm okay. Honestly, I'm okay. But it was negative. It was like, well, let them have the ball. But it's like we played Blackburn away in 2 guys. It's 2 guy. We can't let him have the ball. It don't matter. Like, he'll kill us. He's that good. Don't matter how old he is. He's that good. And he was like, no. And he did. They beat us 1-0. They beat us 1-0 and he killed us. And it was just little moments like that. And I thought, we're Liverpool. It's not, we can't allow anyone to have the, we've got to have the ball. And that's why we've got Steven Gerrard in the team, like one of Europe's best players. We go and take the game to them, but it was like counter-attacking football. And like I said, it was a lot of good stuff from it, but I felt as a forward, I remember when Robbie Keane went to sign there, and I spoke to Robbie, I was like, you sure? I said, I'm not, like, I can only tell you about my experience. I don't think he's for you, Rob. Yeah. And he was like, he was the same as me. And we always feel as football, it'd change for us. It'd be different when we're in. Yeah. It's not going to be like it was for it's different. But it doesn't. And then Robbie, he went about 5-6 months. No, he was there only there about 5 months. And he wasn't him. That wasn't Robbie Keane. It wasn't Robbie Keane. Not the he was like one. An immense, incredible footballer. And that wasn't Robbie Keane we all knew.
I got to mention it. I know we spoke about it last time, about the golf club incident, yeah? Yeah. But John Anna said he done a podcast the other way. Did you?
I didn't see it, no. I haven't seen it, no.
Well, he's trying to come with a different story, basically.
I think he would.
I think he watched ours and just thought, I got to go and do a podcast.
Yeah, look, I think anyone would know. We could ask Steve Finnan, because Steve Finnan was there. Yeah. I do not lie. Trust me, I don't lie. And I'm more embarrassed about telling this truth. This is not a good moment for me, and I feel like this is not something I want to out there. I understand you got to own it, I understand, like, it did happen. But it's nowhere near a proud moment for me. Do not worry about that. And I haven't heard his version. And I'd like, if he wants to believe that and it gives me less, or I don't know, then he can have that. I'm completely, because I remember he'd done an interview. We played against Fulham. And they asked, obviously, you're coming up against it. And he was like, no, we get on really, really well. You know, he's a good trainer. He was a good person, you know. And so that opinion's changed. It's changed since then. But I don't know. Listen, I have no problem with John Anna, honestly. It was me. Like I said, I will own it. And it's not a moment I certainly like to live with. But at the end of the day, I have to, like I said, then I have to own it. And, you know, and there's no, I don't say it bragging wise, or if I wish it didn't happen, honestly, trust me, I would love it to have not have happened. But it did, and you just get on with it. You know, we ended up beating Barcelona off the back of that as well. Yes. So
look at the positives.
You know, look at the positive. Look, there's always a positive. Even though that's difficult to find.
Just staying on Liverpool quickly before we move on to the last couple of clubs. You won a League Cup under Dalglish. That must have been amazing, being under Kenny Dalglish, you know, one of your heroes.
Yeah.
Against Cardiff City as well. And there's an iconic photo, right, where a goal goes in from Cardiff and you're in the background, but with a massive grin on your face. It's
it's mad. Because obviously we've done a lot of work on Cardiff coming into the game. And they don't play. Listen, they're not going to get passes in, or you don't have to worry about any of this. They're not going to look to break lines. It's big, up to the target man, build round him, but set plays dangerous, long, you know. Any ball in that half that goes out of play in a dead ball situation, they have Gunnarsson who can throw the ball in from the halfway line onto your box. You know, it was just, they're a hard work and well-organised run for each other. So it was always going to be a difficult game. I remember being on, and I knew they were hard working. And I remember there was like a long throw-in, corner, and like another long throw-in. If we would have broke, I would have gone 1-on-1. And I'm near waiting for the moment to like, please just clear. If we clear this, I'm in. I can go. But we couldn't get the ball. It was like every time we cleared it, it went out for a throw-in, it went out for a corner. They just missed as well. And I thought, that's their chance. That's their chance. And then it went out for another corner. And when they scored, there was a part of me of like, we couldn't do anything. There was nothing we could do because the ball was never in play.
Yeah.
You know, we spent the last 5 minutes, and I reckon the ball was in play. Must have been about 20 odd seconds. It was just long throw-ins, corners. And and part of me, the smile was like, it was going to happen. I've seen too much of this team, and I've watched them obviously with Melky as well. And it was a part of me, so credit to them as well. You know, to have the balls that they had, and the fighting spirit they had as well. And it was like, that's like when it came to pens, I didn't want to take a pen, you know, because I felt part of me is like, I didn't want to score for Liverpool to win it and then break Cardiff's hearts, or I didn't want to miss for Liverpool and be remembered for the person that Cardiff ended up winning a trophy due to a Cardiff boy playing for Liverpool. And I wanted to stay out of fate. Do you understand? And it's not like me either. And it still pisses me off. Now, I should have, but I was like, no, I want to win it because I want to win a cup. But I'm telling you, honestly, it was like, if they would have won it, I would have been okay, you know. Yeah. Honestly, I would have been okay. And even when we won it, it didn't feel like winning. I was like, I went and spoke to Hudson. I went and spoke my time with Cardiff players. I was like, and a part of me was like, I'll be with you lot next year. Yeah. I'm going to come and play with you. It
was ironic as well, the way it did finish really, with obviously Gerrard's cousin missing the penalty. So he's remembered for that one.
I know, it was like it's pens.
Liverpool current situation haven't been a good start this year. Do you think Darwin is
no, he'd be okay. Boy? He's a good player, and everyone would have bought him. You know, he's been an outstanding player for a few years. When he was in Spain as well, and they paid good money for him, Benfica. He's mobile. He's got a lot. Mane is huge, but Mane was coming towards the end of his peak now. Salah's coming towards the end of his peak. Now, We're not even talking about Henderson. We're not talking about Mill. These players, what they've done over the last number of years is
amazing,
incredible. And what they've done last year was well ahead. I thought last year was going to be this year because the age and the profile of the team, it's gone old. Now, usually you regenerate that team and you bring in the money and, you look what Ferguson was so incredible at over the years was when the player got to his peak and was coming the dip, then you get the highest value then and you move on and then you reinvest that money and build the team again. And and that's how you stay, that's how you stay competitive and able to keep winning. I just felt over the last year or so, Liverpool missed that. They didn't cash in on the players that I felt were at the peak at value-wise as well. To regenerate that team. Now, Jurgen Klopp knows way more than I do, way more. So I trust him. But that was my way of looking at it was like, well, for Liverpool to be competitive now for the next 5-10 years, this team needs regenerating.
Yeah.
But, last year, we were only a few months ago talking about the quadruple.
Winning the quadruple,
It's incredible. And this group of players will be remembered forever.
Yeah.
They're one of the greatest Liverpool teams I've ever seen. And I grew up in the 80s when I seen John Barnes was like one of the best players in the world for 2 years. So, Ian Rush, Dalglish, Peter Beardsley, it was just immense. Alan Hansen, I still to this day, I'm not sure I've seen many better. But if I look, that team now was at their peak. I thought last year they overachieved. And I thought now we're just on that curve. I still believe they get Champions League, but there needs to be that, he's got one or two players in, who've just been immense. And I trust his recruitment. I really do. There's nothing to prove, that he's always, to me, looks like he's always got that right. And even with the age profile, he's always got it right. But like I said, just one or two players maybe have gone past that stage. But maybe you keep them. I don't know. I look at it and say, do you know when the teams won a World Cup and then 4 years later, you're still trying to play with that team?
Yeah.
But 4 years is a long time.
It is.
But you don't want to get rid of them because you remember what they've done. How do you get rid of a World Cup winning player?
Yes.
How do you say your time's up and I'm not going to give you the opportunity of defending it? So that's why those teams you see have won it really struggle to get out of the group stages. Their time's ended. But do you have the balls? And I'm not sure I would to say, look, it's done now.
It's done.
That period's done. Thank you. And now we're going younger. And
I would have kept Manny for another season, though. I would have.
But I understand the sell as well.
Yeah,
I really do. It's the money.
Yeah.
Because would his value be as high next year?
No,
I'm not
obviously,
sure.
they wouldn't have had the 35. You'd have went for free. But if you're talking about still winning the league, I would.
Yeah. It's such a different
manager
one.
perspective, a fucking armchair fan perspective are two different ones. But
well, if you look at Salah now, would you have got way more for Salah now this summer than what you would get next year?
Yeah.
But do you cash in on that?
That's what I'm
you
saying.
Don't. Nor do I. Do you know what I mean? Because he's so good and he's offered so much. So it's like I said, it's a difficult one. And we talk as fans. You know what I mean? That's. If I was talking not a fan, I would have probably said, yeah. But as a fan, I don't want to see him play for anyone else. I don't want to see I don't want to see Manny at Bayern Munich, Yeah. But I sort of understand it as well. And I understand it for him. He's coming towards the last few years of his career. Maybe he wants to see something different. And you have to respect that. But he'll always be remembered for what he done. Like all these players will. Never forget this team. Never forget this team. And there's still legs in them now. But I just, there won't be a quadruple. There won't be, it won't be a league title.